Aisha and France, I'm bracing for you, brother, are here with us now. France, since the Tam fam is already judging you, I'll give you the first word. So, but listen, gaming is a part of something from your childhood. It was a bonding thing that dates back to your dad and your relationship, right?
Yeah, my stepdad, Collins Williams, who's no longer with us, he was an engineer, and he made it his business to make sure that all of his kids had access to computers and games and things like that. That's how I learned. My access to literacy kind of started with there, but it stuck with.
It stuck with, and so it became. Is it a hobby, or is it a way to release tension? What is it? Is it a way to have friends? Because now you can talk to strangers around the world.
Yeah, so I guess it starts as a hobby, but I guess it was more of a vocation for me. I definitely started, I play and I enjoy it, and also my younger brother also plays. My older brother also plays. All of my brothers play.
Everybody I know plays, except for the love of my life next to me.
Sure. Absolutely. And, video games they're awesome. They're really good tools. They're great things, but they're also very time-consuming.
Right, but you put yourself on a time limit because you recognized it was a problem. You started to put a timer on to try to control it.
Yeah, I had to put a timer on. There would be, some times when, the sun would come up. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so Aisha, you would be in bed, asleep, and you reach over for a honey, hug me, I had a nightmare, and he's in the other room playing games.
Yeah, he would say, oh, it's only going to be a little bit. And I knew that it wasn't going to be a little bit. So I would check in every once in a while, and it would be 4 hours. And I'd be like, hey, just so you know, it's been 4 hours. Are you? He's like, oh, let me just finish this one more thing. And I knew.
Did you ever try if you can't beat him, join him? Did you say, okay, I'm going to try to play this with you just so that we can spend time together?
Yeah, I did. In the beginning, I would play, because I'm not very good at all, the strategy games, and a lot of his games are sometimes one player. So I'd play some of the fun games like Lego Star Wars or something like that, and just little puzzles. But after that, it didn't stick long enough. And I used to watch my brother play video games all the time, so watching was a fun thing. But when it would go on for certain games that would go on for a very long time, it would be certain different types of, oh, yes, do that, or do you want to do that? And he would
Did you feel alienated? I mean, you felt like not only was his hobby and he enjoyed it, the time spent away was alienating and keeping you from bonding?
I didn't feel like it was keeping us from bonding per se, but it was something that I didn't know how to mitigate.
Did you feel lonely? You're in the room for 4 hours, you want to talk or Netflix and chill, and you can't because he's on the video game.
Yeah, it felt like that sometimes, that I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go into the room and just watch reality TV then. So I would just watch it. Were
you getting upset? Because, I can understand you being in a room where that, not anger, but you just start being annoyed, and you're in there by yourself, and you're like, how much longer? And then you tick yourself up to it being frustrating, and you go to bed angry.
Yeah, at one point it turned into, I think this is a problem. I don't think you're realizing how long you're playing and why you might be playing. Because it wasn't just for fun at some points, it was also to kind of get away from the day.
That's what we want to get to, the why. Joining us again is licensed psychologist, Dr. Robin Smith. France, I love in the break you told me you do have a line in the sand with games. You don't play sports games.
Absolutely not. If it's a sports game, go outside and play the game.
So you're like, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, that's a little bit
more. So you'll stay in the house for hours playing science-y games. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, they're narrative-driven.
Narrative-driven games, but sports, you say go outside.
Yeah, oh my God. Gotta be a line.
There's a line. Dr. Robin, you've been listening in, and you have interesting perspective. You say that France has been upfront with Aisha from the beginning about exactly who he is, but as you pointed out, the last couple, it's also about evolving. So he might have told her on the front end, but the hours these many years later, they accumulate, don't they?
They do, that's for sure. I always say that marriage is not a mirror, although at the beginning, when people are partnering and they're putting their best foot forward, I write in my book, Lies at the Altar, that, we'll accept anything and I accept you and love you until I'm tired. and I want you to have an extreme makeover. And so this journey is certainly about evolving. It's also about grief. You know, when I listen to Franz talk about his father and that early exposure to a computer and playing with his older brother and his younger brother, there's something also that is grieving. And part of growth in a relationship and a marriage is also about the rituals that we are connected to, why we're connected to them, and also about saying goodbye to certain things. And so I think we need to look at what part of the gaming is because you're creative and you love the storylines, but also because it is your connection with your dad and your brothers. And I hope that you can make room. Yeah.
They're adorable. And I can tell you, because the Tam fan was ready to come for him, Dr. Robin. And then when he started telling that sweet story about his dad, they were like, okay, let him play, Aisha. Leave him alone. You know, because you see the heart there. But again, in fairness to Aisha, she shouldn't have the responsibility of policing the hours. I mean, I don't know how, when I read about them timing him, that didn't make me feel like that was productive either, because she's got to go in and remind him of the time. He's got a timer, he's got to look at the time. You should be at home to feel free. So how do they set the boundaries without her being, you know, the boss and him not feeling like she's monitoring him?
Yeah, it's a great question, Tamron, because, and I see, you know, you're nodding. You don't want to do that, because it doesn't work, right? You've already tried that and it doesn't work. What might help is if you were to go into him and say, I'm missing you. And I know this satisfies you in certain ways. It allows you to relax and unwind. But come with me for a minute. Come be with me. And there are ways in which we don't have to put on that heavy armor. You don't have to, you know, protect yourself, but you can lean in to your own vulnerability and invite him. Make it an invitation, something he kind of can't resist. And don't compete with the gaming.
Dr. Robin, I mean... Right. I mean, but then he can't resist. Are we now putting her where she's competing against the game?
Well, no, because see, the game, if we even understand the gaming, it's really taken on a life much bigger than the game. And that's why I want Franz to understand that there's grief in this. Your job at times is stressful. Your life also as a Black man in America is stressful. And so I want you to find a creative way. You love music, I heard. You love poetry, I heard. I want you to remember the other parts of your body and your brain and your creativity that are being forfeited for gaming. So I'm not saying get rid of gaming. I'm just saying remember that your game is bigger than the game.
You got game. The game is not you.
Right.